because today would have been our 35th Accolades Gala. So on a day like this, we're usually very nervous and getting ready, making sure that we fit in our tuxedos and getting last minute things ready. And I see Hélène smiling in the corner because Planning Concept Plus is our go-to planning company that helps us prepare for the day and 6 months before. So today is no gala, but we do have something that we're going to be launching today on online today to celebrate at least the day of the gala. So I welcome today, je veux souhaiter la bienvenue de Orest Lizimanko, qui est de Orest Coaching, qui va partager ses connaissances en affaires, en coaching, etc. Et Orest a même mis ensemble, comme vous avez vu dans l'invitation, un genre de programme qui peut vous aider dans la relance de vos entreprises. Donc, Orest va parler, il y aura comme 3 phases à sa présentation. Les questions, je ne me souviens pas comment ça a été, comment on s'est entendu, mais normalement, vous savez que vous posez vos questions en utilisant le bouton chat en bas. Et ils vont aller directement à Marc et lui va gérer un peu là, les questions, tout ça, le déroulement. So before we get started, I need to take care of a little business. I'd like to thank our major partners of the Chamber because our major partners throughout this pandemic have been amazing and maintaining their support for the Chamber because they understand that although the Chamber is not holding in-person activities, we are still keeping our eye on what's important to the West Island business community, which then again spills down to the community. So I want to thank them, globally, but I'd like to also mention them individually. So we're talking about Yule ADM, the airport, Desjardins, Pocket et Associés Avocats, Montreal Marriott Interminal Hotel, which we should be at today, but we're not, TELUS Affaires, l'Arrondissement de la Chine, RBC, Taxi de l'Ouest, and we also have our service exchange partners with us. So we have Bravo Location, and can we do it? Woohoo! Yes, sir. All right, we get it, like we do in the events. We have Pro Staging, WSI Digital Marketing, Planning Concept Plus, Hélène is there, and Metro Media. So today our event is sponsored by RBC Banque Royale. I believe that Ibrahim Abou Hader is supposed to be with us this morning, but I don't know if he's here yet because there were some, I guess, a little mix-ups with the link today. So, but he's not here. But look at the beautiful gentleman that we're not seeing online with us today. As I mentioned, RBC is a major partner of the Chamber. They're a business bank. They understand our needs, and we're happy to be partnering with them, and they believe in supporting the Chamber. So on that, I think I'll leave it to Mark. What should we do next? Should we get you want to jump in and just mention some of the technical aspects just to be sure for some people who are not used to
Absolutely. So as we normally do, if anyone has a question, and Orest, you're going to be obviously this is your presentation, but if anyone does have a question, just use the chat feature on the bottom of your screen, and then you'll be able to chat a question to me, and I'll gather all the questions. And you don't need to necessarily say what your question is. You could just say, I've got a question, and then I'll note your name. And so, Orest, I know that you have a couple of breaks through your presentation, and at that time we could either go to the questions that were on the chat or directly to anyone who just has a question at that time. So, Orest, are you ready to rock and roll? I'm going to cancel my screen share here, and I think that you're ready to get rolling.
All right. So thank you very much. Let me just set myself up. Hold on.
By the way, you look like a pilot or something right now.
Do I really, eh?
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me just close this here. The sharing, for some reason, is not working, Mark.
Oh, okay. Well, then you know why. I have to allow you to share. How's that?
Okay. All right. So let me get back to where I was. All right, so you're gonna allow me to share. Thank you.
I think you should be okay now.
Yeah, I'm okay. All right. So slideshow beginning. All right. So thank you very much. I'd like to thank very sincerely. Thank you, the West Island Chamber of Commerce. Thanks, Joe and Mark, for this opportunity. And I would also like to thank you all for your participation. My purpose today or this morning is so that you leave with some ideas. You leave with some ideas that you will be able to apply right now into your business or in your professional practice. Because right now, like everybody's on pause and everything, but some are starting slowly, but I think it's very important to start thinking about the urgency to start getting back into business. So today, what we're going to be talking is the agenda is going to be we're going to be talking about a question of the perspective. There's going to be the process, which I'm going to explain. The analyze the current situation, where we set the priorities with an action plan. How important it is to have the action plan. Also, we're going to discuss also how we're going to align everything with the execution and also the follow-up. The question of perspective, if we're looking today and the past couple of months, on an individual basis, you'll see that people are stressed. There's anxiety in the air. There's fear. People are nervous. A lot of people are concerned for health and sanitary measures. Even if you go do your shopping, everybody's watching each other. It's like my wife says, you're going out to war. You got to be careful on everything. There's uncertainty. There's opportunity. However, there are a lot of there are people that they're using the situation as an opportunity. Secondly, on the business side, if we're looking at, there's the employees that have been, a lot of employees have been laid off. We're looking at, on the business side, there's the financial situation. A lot of people are having problems with their cash flows. There's a reduction of activities. People are thinking about their business, about the sustainability. What am I going to do? Or am I going to survive this? If you look internationally of what's going on, we're looking at the supply chain. Some of it is stopped. Again, there's concerns about health and sanitary measures. There's risks involved. Again, uncertainty, because we really don't know what's going to be happening. Everybody's going to say what's going to take off. By the way, it will not take off as quickly as everybody thinks it. It'll take time. There's going to be an adjustment. However, there are businesses which are taking this as an opportunity, and we'll discuss that. What I want to mention is that it's your mindset also. You got to put yourself in the startup mindset. You got to start thinking, stop thinking about the past and start thinking about the future. That's the key right now. And the quicker you start thinking, putting yourself into action, the quicker you're going to be getting the results. So the next steps, the phases, we're going to be discussing the three phases, which will be analyze the current situation. At the end of the first phase, there's going to be a question period. So what I recommend is you take notes. If there are things that you wish to share, go for it. And then after that, at the end of phase 2, there's going to be another question period. And at the end of phase 3, there's going to be another question period. So the three phases, the first thing is going to be, we're going to be analyzing the current situation in your business. We're going to be resetting the priorities if you need to reset your priorities because of the COVID-19. We're going to look at how to prepare an action plan, how we're going to align it, and how we're going to start executing and also the follow-up. So the phase 1, there are five elements in the phase 1. The first, analyze. So you got to take a picture of your business right now. You take a pictures. We got to look at the situation. So we got to evaluate your workplace. Is it configured according to COVID-19 guidelines? We're going to also evaluate the challenges that COVID-19 represents for your employees, your customers, your suppliers, specifically the supply chain, the technology, and also your partners. We're also going to be looking also, how are you going to evaluate your financial situation, your cash flow? We're going to discuss different scenarios concerning your cash flows. We're going to also validate your value proposition, which is essential. And also we'll discuss a SWOT analysis, which will give you a way to get into the priorities. So in order to evaluate your workplace, the CNSST has put out some guidelines. If you're not aware of it, I would recommend you go on their website. They have different type of businesses, and they provide guidelines. the way we're going to be doing business, it's changing completely. So you have to make sure that your business is safe for your employees and for your customers and for your visitors. We've been hearing this over and over again, but you have to make sure that they're safe, because if customers don't feel safe, they will not be going to your business. They'll be going to another business where they'll feel much safer. They're very important to have the distancing, which has to be respected. Also, we're looking at plexiglass. Now we're seeing the plexiglasses going up, the partition, the posters. There's disinfectants everywhere you walk in. You go to a grocery shop, you go to a new store, you go to SRQ, you have to disinfect yourself. So these are things that it's going to be very important that you do have inventory on hand, so that specifically your employees, that they feel safe if they're going to be coming back, that they're going to feel safe coming back, because they have also if we're looking at the individual, they're going through different issues too. Also, you have to also evaluate the teleworking. A lot of people are working at home, so you have to make sure that they're safe at home and that they have the technology required in order to be able to continue to work properly and be productive in this thing. And also to integrate technology. So we'll be talking technology too, because this is going to be something very, very important going forward. So evaluating the challenge that COVID represents to your employees, I'm going to just mention one thing. Your employees are the key to your success. And when I do the coaching, I often, you're only as good as your staff. Your employees are your key to success. You could be a super great manager, but if your employees are not behind you, forget it. It's not going to work. So you got to make sure that everything's in line. Your employees are happy, that it works out, and that you listen to them. And the new leadership, by the way, today is that you have to have empathy, right? That is going to be something. You have to listen. You'll have to understand of their situation, because you don't know what's going on at home, because things may be affecting at work. They may be at home with kids. They might have lost their parent to this COVID-19. They could have been, their husband might be off work. There's a lot of stress along, like I mentioned. So it's going to be very open to be aware of what's going on, aware of your employee environment. Are they happy or they're not? And that is something essential. You also have to demonstrate change. If there's things that are happening, we have to be flexible. These are things that are something very essential. And also, there's also give them a training program, and these are things that will give them engagement also, because once they know they have a purpose to go into work every single morning, that's the reason they're going to be going in. If they don't, it's not just for the salary. They need to have a purpose. They need to know exactly our purpose is to do this. And I discuss the mission, the vision, the values. Those are the three principles. And these employees have to understand why and how they're contributing to this purpose. So, and we know, of course, the temporary subsidies that the government has put in. Some of them is working, some of them is not working. An example, we're looking at Cirque du Soleil. They gave the 75. It's not working. They're having difficulties. There's a lot of companies that are having difficulties. So the subsidy does help, but it's not something that's going to solve the problems. So also, and like I mentioned, take care of your employees. When you're going to be rehiring them back or bringing them back, it's going to be a gradual thing. They have to feel comfortable working where you're working at, and ask them, how are you doing, right? How are you doing before what are you doing? How are you doing personally? And that is something essential. I put a lot of emphasis in that because it's very important. I'll mention something that new leaders will need to learn to have empathize. And what Bill Gates said, he says the new generation of leaders will be those that empower others. And basically that's what it is. And that's the new leaders, what they're going to have to be doing. So if we continue on going concerning the customers and partners, also your top clients, your top important clients, give them a call. If you haven't given them a call, Ask them how they're doing personally, how's the family and so forth. It's going to be important to have that human aspect. Also to find out what's their situation. So are they going to be affecting you, or are they affecting? Also, you call them to give them confirm orders to find out if there's any orders outstanding, what's going on, and so forth. Even though you're on pause, it's not stopping you to calling them to see how they're doing. Also, the cash management, very important. Your receivables. I'm sure there's a lot of company clients that are not paying because they've stopped. Very important is to give them the call, find out what's going on. When can they pay you? Make arrangement, because that's going to be affecting your cash flow. Also, you may have opportunities to offer other services. Why not? See if we could do something like this. The government, if you're not aware, they put an initiative called Le Panier Bleu. This is B2 customers. If you're not on it, I would recommend, because a lot of customers now, what they're going to be doing is that they want to become self-sufficient, right? We're looking at suppliers and things like that. People want to become self-sufficient. So Le Panier Bleu is a website where it's all Quebec bought. People sell Quebec things which are made in Quebec. The suppliers, the same thing. You're going to have to verify your supply chain. Again, it's very important to maintain the link with your suppliers. You got to know their current situation, because there's going to be disruptions. We saw what happened with the face masks. We saw what happened with the ventilators. There was disruption because they were external. Now they're looking at things to do what we could do, maybe make them locally. There's a lot of companies that are doing things locally now. So you have to adapt. It's going to be very important, and also have the resilience to continue. Today also, and I'm going to be mentioning a lot, that the mindset also has to be resilient. You can't give up. You got to keep on going. So, and also, if you're having cash flow problems, I would recommend to have ask them to defer your payments. Technology. This is the new thing, and this is what's going to be happening. A lot of people, we're looking now at the Zoom meetings as we're doing right now. A lot of companies are going to be selling online, and a lot of them, they will have no choice than sell online, even if they have specifically different products, because people now are going to be buying online. So it's going to be very important to adapt to that. Offer discounts. What I would recommend, offer promotions, offer discounts to your clients so that you could attract new clients also. We're not talking much about this, but cybersecurity, people specifically working at home, you got to make sure that if they're working at home, that that the information is safe, and also it's not being shared and things like that. So this is something that cybersecurity is going to be an issue going forward. Customers also, bank transfers. A lot of before, customers used to pay a lot with checks and things like that. Guess what? These checks are going to be slowly going away. Even myself and my clients, they're depositing funds right into the bank account. So that's the new norm, and that's the way we're going to be doing it. So also, like I mentioned, the Zoom meetings, everything. Also, there's going to be a lot of things done digitally, analytics. So also to look to see if you could get your reports quickly, fast, because in order to get your reports quicker and faster, instead of waiting for your monthly statements, if you're able to get your information on a weekly basis, you'll be able much more effective. You'll be much more quicker to be able to make changes and to adapt to go forward. And that is something to be important, and something going forward. People are going to need more information to find out how to adjust in their business and to go forward. Just to give you, and there's going to be AI, artificial intelligence coming in. That also is going to be something that's going to be changing a lot of markets. For example, the accounting industry is going to be changing because of AI. So there's going to be a lot of changes coming forward, but it's very important to be prepared. Do webinars. I was mentioning before you used to call the customer, you could continue on calling, you visit a client, and guess what? You may be able to send a video clip on your product, what you're able to send, so the customer is able to do it, and you schedule a call. So these are things that going forward, which will change. So the financial situation, this is the key. And I'm going to mention something. Your cash flow is your blood. Karima is that. Your cash flow is your blood. If your cash flow stops, it's like having a heart attack. So that's exactly it. So you need to know where you're going. So you got to know exactly what your financial situation is right now. You got to analyze your receivables, where you're at. If there's companies, if there are accounts which are late, start calling them. The payables, the cash level, the credit facilities. You have to know where you're standing, because that's the most important thing for your business. You have to know your break-even point. Right? So how much money do I need to do at least to break even? I'm not starting to start making tons of money. Let's make break even, and then we start forecasting going forward. Also figure out your fixed and variable expenses. What I'm telling my clients is to go through every single expense. What are they needed or they're not needed? Variable expenses, are there things that you could cut and stuffing? And what I would recommend is you prepare a cash flow for the next 3 to 6 months, not more than that, and then you renew it every 3 to 6 months to see what you're doing. And you check the cash flow on a weekly basis or even on a daily basis, where we're at, where we're going. Make sure you're online, you know where you're going, because if you don't know, it's not going to work. I'm just letting you know. This is from the BDC, and with the cash flow, they're giving just an example, and they did it for a 3-month period, and it's exactly in line. So I mean, they're talking with the opening cash. There's a $2,000 balance. They're saying a receivable. I mean, these are small figures, but it's just giving you an example. And also the cash sales, which is like $1,500. So you have the cash outflows and they have your payables. So then all of a sudden, at the end of the 12 weeks, you're going to see, guess you're in the hole for $20,000. So what am I going to do, knowing that you're going to be in the hole for the $20,000? What am I going to do to recuperate, to get that $20,000? So you got to start planning now, and not wait 12 weeks that you're going to be going into an overrun position. You're calling your banker, look, I'm in an overrun position. You got to advise your banker at the beginning. I don't know if there's any bankers on the calls, but they'll be happy about me mentioning this, because for the cash flows, that's their key, and they rather be prepared than working in an urgency. So once the businesses are going to be continuing, you're going to see that you're going to be updating your financial situation, your firm orders, and then you're going to be purchasing your supplies. You're going to start recalling your employees, and you're going to be receiving new shifts. And guess what? You're going to be starting increasing right here, the working capital requirements. So you're going to have to do, during the recovery stage, you're going to be needing more cash. And that's, no matter what it is, so you're going to have to say, what am I going to be doing to get more cash? What can I do? So either I extend my payables, I try and collect receivables, I try and get some grants. There's a lot of governments, Investissement Québec, there's a lot of grants out there. I would recommend to go out there and see exactly what's out there. So when you do your projections, what I would do is based on my revenues, and I would do like different scenarios. I would say, for example, let's say if my sales for the next months are reduced compared to last year, 10 to 15%, what would be the scenario? If it's decreased by 20 to 30%, what would be the scenario on my cash? If it's reduced by 50%, what's going to be the scenario? So then you'll be able to adjust according to say, look, we can't do this. This is what's going to be happening. And if you're over, then you're much better because you're going to be ahead. But what I'm trying to say is that it's going to be essential that you do have that cash flow. And that is something very, very, very important. The next thing, which is very important, is also your value proposition. The value proposition is it's your business model, right? Why are you in business? Why are we doing this? And your value proposition, often I mention that. What's your edge? What differentiates you from your competition? What makes you better? And because of COVID-19, is that value proposition still the same, right? Or is it different? So the value, the benefit, what you're offering, if it's a cost saving, a revenue increase, it could be customer satisfaction, employee satisfaction. We're looking at now, a lot of people are doing personal development. And I added something else, safety, right? Because safety is something into line too. So you can have part of your value saying that we care about our customer because we do this. And without having a value proposition, like I mentioned, it's impossible to know if and how your business will make money, which partners you will need, and how you will acquire to retain your customers. So the value proposition, you need to know and to know that. And not only that, everybody in the company should know what it is, right? So once we've done all this, then we go into a thing called the SWOT analysis. Now, I don't want to go into detail with this, but the SWOT analysis is you do like a sort of you work out what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what your opportunities are and what your threats are. So your strengths, and often what I say is that you have to be working always on your strengths. It's not your weaknesses. You want to see what you're really, really, really good at, and where are the opportunities in there right now where I could take my strengths to get some opportunities to go up there. So for example, right now there's growth industries, for example, like we're looking at the health, we're looking at food, we're looking at pharmaceuticals, we're looking at technology. Look what happened to Shopify. All of a sudden they're, they're beating the Royal Bank right now for some reason. I have no reason, but anyways, you're seeing what's going on. Everybody, there's more technology. So there are sectors where there is growth. There, mind you, there are going to be other sectors where there will be less growth if they don't adjust, right? So we've heard about Reitmans that just went under bankruptcy. We just yesterday was, I think, was Sale. They're going on. They're having difficulties, and they have to adjust. Aldo Shoes is having difficulties. So there's a lot of businesses that are but they have to adjust very quickly in order to continue. Because if they don't adjust quickly, they're going to lose. I mean, they're going to lose. And mind you, there are businesses during this time that succeeded. And if I'll give you some that were able to adjust quickly. For example, Samuelson, right? I know Samuelson, they make suits. They were able to adjust very quickly to start doing these gowns, medical gowns for the things. You're looking Absolute Vodka, right? Absolute Vodka. They were able to adjust very quickly in order to have disinfectant, which they're offering to a whole bunch of people for free. They're still selling they're still selling their vodka, but they're also selling a disinfectant. So they were able to do quickly. And what I would like to do is I'd like to share this with you and just say, during the pandemic, there's a restaurant called Villa Armando, where I live. All right. And it's a nice, classy restaurant. And this guy, what he did, and I said, well, how are these restaurants going to be surviving? Right. And I said, this is going to be something to share. So I got this in my mailbox. It was just a flyer, and he did it in French and English. But I said, this is what he said. He says, hello, dear neighbor. Given the difficult situation surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic, all members of the Villa Armando family would like to offer you your support. For 15 years, we have been your local restaurant, and we'll remain dedicated to offering you the best of Italian cuisine. Please know that we are always open and available for takeout orders. Please call you can also order da-da-da. Thank you very much for your support. So it was my birthday last May. So my wife asked, what do you want what do you want to have for dinner? And guess what I said? Let's order from Villa Armando. If I wouldn't have received this, I wouldn't have not known that. So this person there, what they did is that they got out there and they put out a bunch of flyers in where I live. And because of that, that's basically what it is. Are they making money? How's their cash flow? I don't know, but I'm just saying they took the initiative to do that. So this is just an example. So, any questions?
I'd like to jump in for a second, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
There are a lot. I mean,
Orest, you might want to just end your screen share.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll end my stop share. Yeah.
Okay. Before we get to
we're doing good on time. All right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Before we get to questions, we normally, as you know, Orest, you've participated on some of our events. We like to take a screenshot of all the participants before.
Okay.
And if I could ask, I know that there's some participants that are voluntarily turning off their cameras. Peut-être à ce moment-ci, vous pouvez ouvrir vos caméras juste pour la photo, si vous êtes gêné. Alors, on va prendre une photo, et everyone, when Virginie will tell us when to smile, and then you may give a thumbs up or whatever you'd like, and we'll take the picture. So peut-être que, Mark, if you could unmute Virginie so that she can instruct us what to do.
Yeah.
Donc, on sourit dans 3, 2, 1. Parfait. Et je vais prendre la page 2. Donc, on y va dans 3, 2, 1, tout le monde. Parfait.
Parfait. Merci.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. So I have a question, Orest. I'll just kick it off. I don't know if there's how many questions are. First of all, I just want to say that, again, I think I said this at the top, that Orest and I have been talking about having Orest come and present at the chamber. And based on this presentation that you prepared, and you had told me that you put this together because you saw the need for COVID-19. and there's so much information in there. It's like eating something with extra fiber, you know. So I'm really happy that you've done this, and obviously we're going to have you back for other and perhaps the follow up to this presentation. The question I had, I guess, is I touched on, I really like the focus you put on the fact that people have to prepare in their offices and a lot to make their clients feel comfortable. I guess the question I have, and perhaps it's on other minds of others, is it's a little difficult getting some of the PPE that we need to acquire. So do you have any advice, or have you heard from some of your other clients what they do to circumvent this? I know people should prepare ahead. I mean, I know on our side for the chamber, you know, a possible anticipation of things getting back to semi-normal in the fall. I'm already, you know, acquiring things that I think we might anticipate the need at our events. So I guess it's a long lead time, or what do you think about that?
Well, I would start preparing right now, definitely, and you know, and I think Shelley was mentioning, and a lot of people at her last, people are going to be waiting till the fall, like you mentioned, but however, it's giving us an opportunity to prepare. So I would say, okay, what kind of equipment do I need? What do I really need? And then I would start finding out where it is. I mean, and the website, the CNSST, I think they have there's places where you could go, but they'll give you advice. But to get the equipment, I'm not sure. I mean, you'll have to sort of find it, but I would definitely prepare, Joseph. I would definitely prepare if you're going to be doing events. I would not wait like a week or I would start preparing right now. And definitely, I mean, you know what? There's a client once told me, he says, Oris, preparation plus opportunity equals success.
Yes.
So if you don't prepare, the opportunity comes around. You know, it's not going to work. So you need to prepare. So,
and I will just give a little plug to certain companies in the West Island and organizations who are obviously converted their businesses to help and mostly for the first responders. However, I think that there's opportunity also for us to buy locally for these types of products.
Yes, and definitely, and that is something, because you know, even the members, once they're going to go to the events, everybody's going to be making sure that, you know, if you're going to be having your golf tournament, what are we going to be doing to be, you know, and what are the guidelines for the golf tournament? So first of all, we got to follow the guideline, and what can we do even better? That's the key. So they have that experience. That's the key, because it's all about the customer experience, right? And now the health issue comes into it.
Joe, I've got a couple questions, and I've also got Stephen Hall who wants to add his 2 cents. Where did you get your masks, Stephen?
Okay, so I usually order my toner and stuff from a company called 123inc.ca. They have 3 companies actually, and one of their other companies is called shopperplus.ca, and they're a local company. So they source things from all over the place, but I got masks and gloves from them, and they also have sanitizer. So it took usually they deliver the next day. It took me 6 days to get my order. So I think that was more of a UPS issue than it was an issue with them fulfilling my order. But it was, you know, it was everything I expected. Like trying to get nitrile gloves anywhere is next to impossible. So they have them, and they have masks, and they have sanitizer.
Okay.
There's another guy that I think he's a member of the chamber as well, Hassan Tubal, who is a sign maker. His company is Epic Advertising. He makes large signs, small signs. He's making plexiglass shields, so you can have them for your desk, or you can have them for, you know, larger ones. He'll do custom size and everything. So he's a good guy to contact as well. So
okay. I just put that in the chat, which is what you had texted. Okay, so it's in the chat for everyone's benefit. And I want to do a quick time check with Orist. We are 10:39. Are we good? Are you good for questions? You want to continue?
Let's continue, and then we'll leave the questions at the end. All right.
Perfect.
Is there any other questions, or?
There are, but you know what? I think I just want to. That's okay. That's cool.
Okay.
We'll continue. Thank you.
All right. Perfect. All right. So let's get back. PowerPoint slide. Okay, part 2, share. All right. So I'd like to read something to you. Once you've done the SWOT analysis, it's going to be very important that you choose 3 priorities. And I would not, the phase 2, it's choosing your 3 priorities. You do your action plan for the next 6 months. I wouldn't be doing an action plan for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. 6 months, then you adjust it, you keep on going forward. You also set up key performance indicators, which is the KPIs under finance, clients, and so forth. We're going to discuss that. And also we're going to align the budget to your resources and also clarify the roles and responsibilities, because there are definitely, with the COVID, there's going to be definitely some of your employees are going to be changing their roles and responsibilities. So going forward, hold on, what's going on? Okay, so going forward, the 3 priorities, I always say 3. If you think 2 is better, take 2, take 1, but you need to have something that everyone's going to be working on. That is something essential. So the 3 priorities, and I'm going to read something that came from McKinsey & Company. And they said, rapid revenue response isn't just a way to survive the crisis. It's the next normal for how companies will have to operate. That's what's going to be. So rapid revenue response is going to be the new normal, how company will operate. What's important is to identify the primary source of revenue, and on that basis, make now or never moves that need to happen before the recovery fully starts. This may include launching target campaigns, as I mentioned, win back loyal customers, developing customer experiences, focus on increased health and safety, adjusting pricing, whatever it is, it's got to be done quickly. That's the most important thing. So, and the priority, it's got to be in line with your mission, your vision, and also sustainability. You got to make sure that it's going to help you with your business. It's going to help you grow and also increase the value of your business. So whatever that priority you decide to use, it's got to be something that's going to help, is in line with your mission, your vision. Also, that you set up key metrics for success. And also, is there an investment required? And also often I say, if you're going to invest in, what's your return on investment if you're going to do this? And also any risks which are involved with this. So the SMART priorities, I'm saying, the short term and priorities, they have to be, like I said, 6 to 12 months, not longer than that. I would definitely get my employees involved in that. If you're setting priorities, we're going to say, well, let's get some employees involved. Why? Because you're going to get their buy-in. That's the most important thing. And they may give you some ideas, which say, maybe we should go this way or do or something like this, depending on your management team. Whoever it is, I would get some feedback. Also, you do your key performance indicators, and also, like I mentioned, you got to align the budget. So the key performance indicators, and I would use maybe a few of them, and that's what you're going to be using. That's what you're going to be measuring your success. So for example, if you're doing a cash flow, or you're doing, if you want to increase your revenues, how much revenues I need to do every single week to break even, how much pipeline I have, how's the retention of our customers? Do we call our customers? Are we losing customers? How many new customers do we want to start acquiring? Because it doesn't stop you from calling to get new customers. Also, what you want to do is you want to check your results to forecast, and also you align the resources with the number of employees to the product, because you're not going to be hiring at, like I know some businesses, they fired a lot of people. I'm not in fire, but I mean, they laid off a lot of people, and now they're gradually hiring back. And it's not going to be a quick rehire, just to let you know. It's going to be a gradual, depending on the forecast, depending on the need, and so forth. So it's going to be something very important that you're going to also maybe also check on the team health. How are they doing health-wise? Because if you don't ask them, they're not going to know, right? So they have to feel that you're there for them, and it's going to work. And also, you also always have to think about building your operations resiliency. So in other words, that you're not depending on anyone. You're depending here, and that they're efficient. So the operation, you're not wasting time. It's efficient, and it's rolling, and it's rolling. So these are elements which are essential, because every single week, and I'm going to be talking about this because that's what's happening, is that after that, the phase 3, there's going to be the alignment and the execution, the follow-up. So you're going to have to align with the objectives are with everybody else. Then you're going to have to execute it, and then you communicate, and then you're going to have to review and monitor and adjust. So what I've been seeing and what I've been recommending is that you have weekly meetings with your staff. You need to have weekly meetings where we are today, where we're going, how did we do last week, what's our objective for this week, what are the priorities for this week, what can I do to help you, have touch bases. I know there's some companies that have one-on-ones with their salespeople, have one-on-ones with the people, but not just discuss results. Discuss also their well-being, how are you doing, how you're working, how are things, how's the family, so they feel that, like I mentioned at the beginning, that you care. So also if there's additional training, right, if they may need in their new roles, especially in the sales force, they may need new training to be able to sell. You used to knock on doors, you don't knock on doors anymore, right? You don't visit the client. So how are you able to help them to be able to sell? And the more training you give, the more value you give to your employees, that they're part of your purpose. You're going to increase that engagement. They have to feel that they're part of this. And it's by the communicating that you're going to be communicating day in and day out with them, stipulating that how well they're doing and how we're not doing. And if things are not going good, you tell them we're not doing good, but what can we do better? Right? So let's find the solutions. And that's the key, because often people are going to say, we're not doing well. Right? Fine. So what can we do? Right? Let's think about it. Let's brainstorm on this. What can we do better? So the execution, and that's the key right now, the execution and the communication. So the action takes place when the strategy is transferred from the organizational level, and that's what's misses often. And we see this in corporate culture and things. Everything's left on top, right? It doesn't come down and so forth. So you got to bring it down to the individual level. So you'll have to review and adjust accordingly. That is essential. You also have good governance, right? You have to be transparent. You got to make sure things are working, and the communication. So what I'm saying is communicate. Weekly meetings, you have one-on-ones. There's what I hear now is that call your employee how they're doing. Now on Fridays, people are having wine the 5 à 7, but the 4 to 6 or whatever, where they are on Zoom and they're just talking, and without talking about results, objectives, or anything, but they're just saying, what are you going to be doing this weekend? And because specifically the people that are working off-site, for them it's a bit more difficult, and if they don't feel part of the team, you're gonna lose them. So it's important to communicate with them. And I know there's some companies that are having daily touch bases, just to have a 5 minute, 10 minutes. What are we doing on? What we're working on? What kind of help do I need with it? On a daily basis. But that it depends on your needs and exactly what you wish to accomplish. So often what I talk about is the high performance culture. The culture is so essential today, and specifically after this COVID-19 that we're going through. It's so important that everybody needs to communicate. And that's the key today. And we got to communicate in the human aspect. And I don't want to repeat this over and over again. And if we don't communicate and we don't say the things, but you also need to provide guidance to where you're going, right? Because if they don't know where you're going, it's not going to work. So the 3 obstacles right now, which I think, right now, if people don't do this, lack of relevant planning and immediate execution. That's the first thing. If you don't set up a plan and you don't communicate your plan, it's not going to work. So you need to make sure that everybody knows exactly what we're working on, what we're doing, recognize the people that are doing well. Things that are not doing well, what can we do to do better? What kind of help do you need from me to make you better? So that everybody wins, and your customer wins, your employees win, suppliers wins, and the financial too. And also lack of capital liquidity, and that's why I was talking about the forecast. That is essential. You're going to be able to know exactly what liquidity you need and so forth, and what can I do to adjust. So that plan has to be adjustable. And I'll leave you with this: a goal without a plan is just a dream. And basically that's what it is. So if there's no plan and you don't execute, it's not going to work. So I'm going to say, Joe, it's okay if I could say something. So what I'm going to offer is I have a business recovery program which I put into place. This is specifically for the COVID-19. If anyone is interested, it's a 6-week program. You could contact me at info@oriscoaching and so forth. And since for the members of the Chamber of Commerce, what I offered is that if anybody wants to contact me, you could contact me. We could have a conversation. It's all confidential for a week. Yeah, sure. No, for 1 hour. I'll allow 1 hour. And if there are things that you want to discuss, it'll be a pleasure to discuss with you. I'm part of the, by the way, I have my practice. I've had a few number of years. I'm a PCC coach. I have the guidelines of the ICF. So it's very important. My practice has 3 pillars. The first one is the business coaching. The second one is strategic planning, and also business transfer. So people that are going to be preparing and selling their business. I'm also certified with the CITEC and Institute Leadership. And basically that's it. So I just want to thank you for your participation. I don't know how we're doing with time. It looks not too bad. And if you have any questions, you could contact me. If there's any feedback, whatever. Give me a call. It'll be my pleasure to help you. I'm there to serve you.
I think what we'll do, Oris, is perhaps open up the floor to people who have questions now. And, and as you mentioned, if there are additional questions, they can contact you directly, or they can send them to the chamber and we can pass them on to you. But I think we have 10 minutes if people have some questions. I think, Mark, there are some questions that you have already.
Absolutely. And so I'm actually unmuting Waf Kemmel, I'm unmuting you. Tu avais une question concernant le gouvernement, je crois. I'm trying to unmute you, but in the meantime, I'm going to proceed to a question that I have here. So Oris, with regards to projecting potential losses, okay?
Yeah.
And it's too bad Ibrahim is not here. I would really love to hear his answer here. Unless there's an established relationship, long-standing relationship with a bank, why would a bank want to get involved with a company to loan when there's projecting losses through whatever this period is? And we're heading into the unknown. I'd like to know how you present that one to a bank.
Okay, so if you're for how long are you projecting the losses, right?
Well, I mean,
so that's the thing. So if you're projecting losses, it's got to be a period, because there's going to be a turnaround period, and you're going to have to explain to the bank, what am I going to do to turn around the situation, right? And it could be a temporary nature, right? So it may be a cash flow situation, knowing that I'm going to be losing so much money, but I'm going to be getting these orders on hand that are going to be coming this way, and it's possible you may be getting firm orders or something like that, which will help my cash flow. So it's possible that they may be able to help you in order to, during that time, to support you, give you an overrun or whatever it is during that time. But it's going to be very important to be transparent. I don't think the bank's going to say no. If you're able to go to see them and show them what you're able to do to turn this around. And I think that's the plan. That's the most important thing. The bankers are going to be listening too. And plus there's government, there's a 75% subsidy for the payroll. There's Investissement Québec that's going, BDC is putting money out there. So, I mean, there is a lot of government loans that are coming out there, but don't forget those loans have to be repaid, right? Except for that 10,000 there, those loans have to be repaid. So you got to make sure that if you do borrow and you do decide to do that, how are you going to repay it? And that's the reflection that you have to do. That's what you have to do. What am I going to do to turn that business around? That's what I have to do. So if my business is I'm losing sales of 50%, what can I do to increase it by another 10 or 20%? How much is that going to do? That's why that break even, you need to calculate your break even, how much money I need to make to do it. And then you show this to the banker, and this is what the situation is. And then you follow through on a weekly basis. Does that help, Mark?
That helps perfectly. Thank you. I'm going to read the question because Waf Kemo, and I apologize. I don't know. Je ne connais pas ton nom, but you're on the screen. We see you. And okay. No, this was her question. Le gouvernement a un rôle très important dans la pénétration de la relance. Est-ce que vous voyez qu'il y a de bons plans pour se faire précisément au niveau provincial?
That's a great question. I think the government is doing what they possibly can do with what they're having, I cannot say if it's good or it's bad. And but what I would say is, what do you have now, which are you able to use to help your business? That's the way the thing is. That's what I would say. What can I do now with these government grants? What can I use now with this government that will help my business? That's what you got to look at, right? If they're doing well, if they're not doing well, I can't. I don't want to. I don't want to go there because that's not my specialty. I'm working on what I have now. That's basically what it is.
Horace, there's a question, and that, thank you. Ça c'était de Wafa Kemu. Merci beaucoup.
Okay, merci.
Parfait. So here's a question for you. How do you, this is a question to you specifically on your hour that you're prepared to offer members of the chamber.
Yeah.
How deep a dive do you do in 1 hour?
Well, I won't be analyzing your financial statements. That's part of my coaching thing. That definitely not. But during that hour, I'm going to give you 1 hour of my time. If you have any questions, there's things that you want to discuss, I'll give what I'm able to give you. How's that? Okay. So, and if you got nothing to lose. you could hang up on me if I'm not giving you valid information. But I mean, basically that's what it is. I won't be able to analyze. You tell me what the situation is, like we're discussing right now, and we're going to see what I could do, and I could propose you some things. And take it from there. I may even give you some tools. You know, I could do that. But if you ask me to do a cash flow, it won't happen because I don't do cash flows. Just to let you know, I would tell the accountant to do the cash flow, right? So I would take the information that I have, and that's what the question before. I take the information that we have now, and we see what can we do the best with it. How can we make it grow? So basically, that's what it is.
And with regards to your presentation today, I know that it was a super information-rich presentation.
Yes.
Are you able to share that with us?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I will definitely. It will be a pleasure for me to offer you my presentation. It's like a textbook, but I mean, if it helps someone, go for it. You know, and basically, that's what it is.
And I think I'd like to also say that, Oris, your offer of the 1 hour free time with any potential member is something that you are offering not just for the COVID-19. It's you're offering this as a member-to-member service, as a member of the chamber. If I'm
yes.
So.
Yeah, it's part of the commercial benefits. So if you look on for the Chamber of Commerce, you'll see Oris Coaching. There's a 1 hour free. I could do an assessment too for you. I've done it with some members too. I could tell you exactly what you're missing, and then you take it from there. I mean, but then again, you have to put yourself into action, right? Because that's the key, right?
Exactly.
You could have the plan, but if you don't execute, it won't happen.
Exactly. So listen, we're coming up to we're almost up to 11 o'clock. I don't know if there are any other questions that people want to ask live. But we're going to be wrapping it up soon so that people can go out and buy some PPE or make some money. And so I know that Maître Paquette, who's on our board, he cannot call in because he's calling from somewhere very far away if you look in his window. And
oh, is that right?
He should have sunblock on, John.
Is that right?
He's unmuted, as a matter of fact.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm listening, by the way. It's not funny at all. Number one. And number two, take advantage of Ores's offer, because for me, it's about $400 an hour if you call me. So.
It's gone up.
Okay, I'm going to mute JR again. Thank you, JR.
Something that I've known Urs back to university days, and I have to say that I've met with him and spoken to him, and he's got some great ideas. I absolutely appreciate the speed at which you made a delivery today. I thought it was really great because there were no uhs and ahs, and you had to think, you know your stuff, Urs, and you ran through it really, really well. Made a great presentation.
Thank you very much, Andrew.
Those are.
I have one question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, it's Sylvie from John Abbott. Thank you very much. I wanted to ask you if you knew a little bit more about the PACME, if any of the members are very familiar with that, or if people are familiar with using it or applying for any of that, especially for employee training and professional development.
You could ask, well, I'm familiar with it, but I would, Shelley. I know Shelley, she's very involved with that. Also, my program is also underneath the PACME. So I don't know what kind of training you're looking for.
I'm just curious to see how the companies are reacting to that particular opportunity or funding for small companies or medium size, any size companies. So I just wanted to see your opinion on it.
Shelley?
Oh, actually, Shelley just texted in. She said that PACME is now closed.
So there you go.
There we go.
There's your answer.
The funding has run dry.
Yeah, it was like $100 million, but I heard a lot of big corporations went for it too. So
you know, we were going so well, and we're up against the clock.
Thank you.
And it's unfortunate we ended on this note, but I just want to thank everybody for participating. I want to thank Oris especially for putting this presentation together for our members. Et si vous avez des questions, des commentaires, n'hésitez pas, vous allez recevoir quelque chose de nous comme d'habitude à des événements de la Chambre. Et je vous remercie beaucoup. And if Mark has his finger up, is there something you'd like to add, Mark?
Yes, I'm going to unmute everybody so we can make some just say goodbye to each other in a human way. So everyone is now unmuted. I'm unmuting right now. There we go.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Interesting.
it's a pleasure.
Thanks, Horace.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, thank you, and we'll see you soon.
We'll make some money.
Yeah.
Well done, Oris. Thank
Thank
you.
you. It's a pleasure.
Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Thanks for your time. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay.
You.